Is Zach LaVine an atrocious defender? With LaVine's All-Star candidacy a hot-button topic these days, this has been a really big talking point among national and local media, so I wanted to kind of look into this. And LaVine obviously has a reputation as one of the worst defenders in the league. I'd say that's been pretty well deserved in previous years. In fact, I've written a number of articles. You can see there's two here at The Athletic that I wrote. And I even did like a YouTube video a couple years ago just about how bad of a defender he was. So I'm very far from a LaVine homer or a Bulls homer. I've probably been one of the most critical people of the organization and LaVine out of any media member in the past. So I never thought that I would be defending him against these attacks against his crappy defense because, frankly, they were well deserved. But I always try to give honest analysis, and that's what you're going to get today, both the good and bad about how he plays on defense. And honestly, I think he's been a lot improved. Just to give a one or two sentence summary of what I think of him, he's fine as a man defender for a while now, but he used to be really, really bad as a help defender, which I think is actually more important, has more value. There were two areas where he was really weak. Number one was maintaining his awareness, and number two was making the right rotations. And he still makes mistakes from time to time every game, but I would estimate that he's cut out maybe 50 to 75% of those mistakes in awareness and rotations. So that is obviously a huge improvement. He's still below average for sure, but I don't think he's at this level where he's so bad that he's killing the team. The Bulls don't have a great defense right now, but I do not think it's fair at all to blame LaVine solely for that. And he's played with really weak defensive teammates. I think that's why a lot of these on-off statistics are not very kind to him defensively. And yeah, I just think he's better than he's being given credit for these days. So how am I going to make this point? I think a lot of people like to use these advanced metrics, but honestly, the publicly available ones for defense are not very good. I think for offense, they're actually pretty good, but defensively, we don't have any great public ones. The one that was popular for a while was ESPN's Real Plus Minus, but they changed the formula this year, and the guy running it left. And honestly, it's just pretty bad now. Like, I would not recommend using RPM going forward. What is better, this new metric that is pretty popular these days among the analytics community is estimated plus minus. That's also abbreviated as EPM. That's by Taylor Snar. And that's over at this website, dunksandthrees.com. So let's take a look. This is Zach's numbers. You can see that in his first 4 years in the league, he was really bad. I mean, his rookie year, he was probably the worst defender at his position. And then into his fourth year, he was still, between worst and bottom 20th percentile. Then in the past couple years, he's gotten better. He's in the 30th percentile range, which, doesn't sound that great. But when you're at an outlier level where you're that bad, you're like bottom 10%, that is a pretty vast difference between that and 30th percentile where you're just, normal bad, but you're not destroying your team. So, I've seen Zach's defense compared to Trae Young's a lot in their All-Star candidacy. The idea that there are these two guys that are all offense, no defense. And honestly, I just think that's a very disingenuous comparison. If you look at Trae Young's numbers, I'm not going to go too much into this because this is a Zach LaVine video, but Trae is he's bottom first percentile, bottom fourth percentile, and bottom 15th percentile in his 3 years in the league. That is terrible. So I just don't think that it's a fair comparison. Zach's defense is definitely a lot better than Trae's. Trae, you can make a case that he's the worst defender in the league. So that's the advanced stats arguments portion. Now we're going to go into the film, and I think that's the only real way to evaluate defense. You have to spot shadow a guy every play. What that means is only watch that player every single play on defense. You can't cherry pick plays because even if you spot shadow a guy, it's really difficult to make an accurate evaluation because you need to know what the scheme is that the coach has laid out and what the guys are saying on the court in terms of communication, which we can't hear on the broadcast. If you cherry pick plays, you can make any player look terrible on defense, even the very best defensive players. So I looked at every single defensive play from the first quarter of LaVine's most recent game against the Los Angeles Clippers. We're going to look at all the ones where he was involved. So the Clippers ran 26 possessions in this first quarter. We're going to look at 18 of them because the other 8, Zach just wasn't involved on defense really. So it's just not interesting. It wasn't meaningful. So I wanted to do the whole game to really give you guys the full picture, but I just really quickly realized that it's going to take way, way too long. So we just took the first quarter. Again, this is not cherry picking. This is how you have to evaluate NBA defense. So let's get into it. Okay, here's play number 1. Here's Zach. He's guarding the ball. He's guarding Terrence Mann. The Clippers are going to run a stagger screen, meaning there's going to be two guys setting screens that Zach has to get through. I think he does a pretty good job of getting over both these screens, staying on Reggie Jackson's hip. This used to be a huge problem area for LaVine. This is where he lost a lot of his defensive value. He just always got hung up on screens. He took really weird routes through them, just going very circuitous routes. But he's gotten a lot better at just finding a path and sticking with it. So watch him get over. Pretty good. He's still in position to contest from behind. The second part of this play I don't think is quite as good. They reset. Okay, watch his position. He's going to come down to the elbow here. This is exactly where he's supposed to be. You maybe want him a little bit more in, but it's not bad. He can't veer too far off. He can't help too far off Reggie Jackson because Reggie Jackson, again, a guy with a reputation as a bad shooter that might not be accurate in recent years. He's been a 38% three-point shooter in his last 3 years, so he has developed that shot. And Zach needs to stay at this elbow while being in a position to recover if Reggie Jackson does catch that for a catch-and-shoot three. So, yeah, you can see that he had a little dig there at the elbow. Maybe want to be a little bit more in to block that drive, the path for that drive, but overall not bad. Okay, second play. Here's Zach at the corner, very top of the screen. Clippers are going to run Chicago action. We're going to see this a lot. I actually wrote about this on my Substack if you want to know more about this play, but essentially it is a down screen into a handoff. So you're going to see Nicholas Batum right here set a screen on Zach, and then his man is going to try to get the handoff right here. So Zach does a really nice job on the first part of this play. He recognizes the action that the Clippers are running. He gets over the screen and he blows up the handoff so they can't get it. Watch. He gets over the screen. He gets under the screen actually. Gets his hand in the path of this handoff, and they have to catch way out here. So this action is kind of screwed up already. The second part of this play, not quite as good. The Clippers have to reset. Ibaka is going to change the angle of his screen, which is smart heady play here. And Zach kind of gets hung up on this screen when Ibaka changes the angle. You can see here. So he's behind this play. Not a great situation. Gafford also just not a very good contest on this runner. But, Zach fights to get back in the play. And he is in position to get the rebound in case of a miss. Fortunately, there is no miss. Okay, play number 3. This one on first glance does not look great. It looks like Zach gets blown by, but you have to be cognizant of the scheme that the Bulls are running. It looks like they're icing pick and rolls here. So I want you to look at the positioning of Zach's body here. He's facing the sideline. He's trying to take away the middle. He's trying to avoid letting his man, Reggie Jackson, use this screen from Ibaka and trying to funnel the help sideline to the help. You can see Kobe White here. He's already in position to help. He's already going to get over. Gafford's going to be there too to contain. So this drive is totally cut off. This is what the Bulls were trying to do. But there's some sort of miscommunication on this play. I'm not sure exactly who the mistake is on, but there's for sure a mistake because Serge Ibaka is going to catch this ball and get a wide open catch and shoot three. The Bulls have played this a couple different ways throughout the season. Sometimes they have the next man over, who would be Garrett Temple, come over to stunt and try to prevent Ibaka from getting a totally clean look. That's what ends up. Actually, Garrett Temple does a hard closeout here because I think that the coverage just got botched, so he just went into emergency procedures here. But the other thing that the Bulls do a lot is peel back switch. So that would mean that LaVine would come back here as soon as he sees the back of this guy's jersey. He's supposed to peel back and get Ibaka. We don't know if that's what he was supposed to do here, but I suspect probably. But another part of peel back switches is it relies really heavily on communication from the defensive big. The big has to call out that they're running that assignment. So we can't pick up on the broadcast if Gafford says anything. It doesn't really, you can't see him saying anything either. So we just don't know. But regardless, yeah, wide open three for Ibaka, and he hits it. Play number 4, we got Chicago action again. Here's Zach at the bottom. They're trying to exploit Zach. They're trying to run through a bunch of screens. You can see Nick Batum setting the down screen here. Remember, Chicago action is a down screen into a handoff. So Zach is going to have to get through 2 picks here. He's going to have to get through this initial screen from Batum. They're going to hand off. He's going to have to get through that screen on the handoff. He does a pretty good job of that. Again, gotten a lot better at getting through screens. He's right on Reggie Jackson's hip here. No advantage created. Pretty good. So now Garrett Temple is going to do a hard closeout on Batum, who's been a pretty good three-point shooter for his career. Batum is going to pump fake, fly by. Now Zach is going to stunt at Batum and then recover to Reggie Jackson, because again, you can't leave Reggie Jackson wide open on the 3-point line. And Garrett Temple's actually going to get back in this play and get a pretty good contest. The Clippers, he makes this shot, but you live with that. Yeah, long 2 contested. That is kind of, teams are going to get some shot off that if that's the shot they get, you live with it. Okay, play number 5. Here the Clippers are running in transition. You can see Zach LaVine way back here. He is going to switch onto Terrence Mann, which is fine. What I like about this play is, first of all, Zach picks him up really high. Second of all, you can see Zach pointing right there. He's pointing. He's calling out the switch. Good communication. This is an area, again, where he was really weak in the past, where he did not tell teammates what he was doing. He was kind of just like in La La Land. But now, you can see he's making sure that his teammates see that he's switching. Picks up Terrence Mann high. This is another play where it's going to look like Zach is making a huge mistake here. Terrence Mann is going to get downhill and get a layup on this play. But the fact is that his teammates kind of let him down here. In the NBA, transition defense is really hard. Basically, anytime you get one-on-one with a guy, he's going to beat you when he has that full head of steam. So the way to prevent that is you have to wall off the paint. And that takes a whole team. So Patrick Williams here is really the one to blame. He's way too high. If we go forward a little bit, Patrick Williams should be down here further to block off this lane, not allow Terrence Mann to drive. Fortunately, there is a driving lane. Zach fights it about as good as he can, and then he makes a bad situation worse by fouling. You can see they're going to show a replay here. You can see that he definitely got his arm. So not a great defensive possession from LaVine here, but it looks a lot worse than it is just because he should never have been put in that situation in the first place. Yep, there he is hitting his arm. Okay. Play number 6. This one is not super detailed, but I just thought I would include it in here for completeness sake. You can see LaVine, bottom left corner of the screen here. He's guarding the corner. And the shot has already gone up. You can see him already leaking out into transition. Now, again, this is one of those where you don't really know what's going on. You don't know what the scheme is. If the coaches told him, you're supposed to leak out on these. I don't think they did, but it's possible, I guess. And yeah, his man in the corner here, Terrence Mann. If the Clippers are in pretty good position to get this offensive rebound, they almost get it. And if they do, then Terrence Mann is going to have a wide open corner 3. Zach is totally out of the play. And also, Terrence Mann can corner crash here and grab this rebound if he wanted to, which for whatever reason he didn't. But yeah, the Clippers end up not getting the rebound, and it ends up not biting the Bulls in the butt. But yeah, not sure, but it looks like that probably was not a great play from Zach. Okay, play number 7. Here's Zach down here. He's involved in some kind of off-ball action. I want you to watch how he keeps his head on the swivel. He keeps on turning his head, looking at man and ball. This is exactly what you're supposed to do. This is an example of how he's improved his awareness. And again, that was like his biggest problem area in the years past. So this is good. He gets around some weak screens here. We'll watch it. Zubac sets a screen here. Not very hard. This is all dummy action here. They're trying to set up a play for Kawhi. So Zach's not super involved in this play, but I just want to include it to show that, he's paying attention on the weak side, which is what you're supposed to do. And then continuation of this play, Kobe White shoots a wild 3 here. This is where teams get a lot of their fast break actions, is off totally bricked 3s, steals, blocks, or wild layups, where the defense does not have a time to get set at all. So Zach's at the top of the screen here. He matches up with Kawhi. He switches on to Kawhi. You can see again the communication. He's pointing right there, communicating to his teammates that, I got Kawhi this possession. You guys got to switch. Small things, but these are the things that he wasn't doing in the past, and this is why he's better. Okay, play number 8. I want you to watch Zach help here. Zach is guarding the inbounder initially as the play goes on. So here he is at the elbow. He's digging, which means that he is making a motion to get the ball out of Kawhi's hands. He's trying to distract Kawhi, but at the same time, he's in a good position to recover to his man. Watch him turning his head here, keeping his head on a swivel. Good stuff. Gets back in position. Back at the elbow, back in good help position. And when the shot goes up, he goes down and crashes the glass, turns his head to make sure his man's not coming in for the offensive rebound, comes to help rebound. That's good stuff. Okay, play number 9. There's not much to this one either, but again, I just want to show that he's in good help position. Here he is on the block. He's the low man here. He's supposed to help on any sort of drives to the basket. And yeah, he's just in early good help position. You see him, he just turned his head there. He's watching his man to check to see if he's corner crashing, which he is. He's going to keep him off the glass, and he's gang rebounding here. This is really important because the Bulls, for the most part, have played a small lineup with Thad Young at center. So they need their guards. They absolutely need their guards to rebound well. They've been a surprisingly good defensive rebounding unit in this 5-man group with Thad Young at center. And this is why. It's because LaVine is doing a very good job of helping as a guard to rebound. And, you know, again, this sounds like something that's super simple, super easy. You know, you see middle school kids doing this or whatever. It just doesn't really happen that much at the NBA level, to be honest with you. So to have a guy that's dedicated to boxing out, to helping on the glass, a guard, that is very, very valuable. And he's making a big defensive contribution by doing that. So play number 10. This one is not great. You see him up here. He's guarding Terrence Mann. Terrence Mann is not a very good three-point shooter. So the Clippers are going to run a ball screen here. LaVine is going to try to go over the ball screen, which you don't need to do against a guy who's this bad of a three-point shooter. And what happens subsequently is he gets caught on the screen. He gets taken out of the play. And good contest here. But yeah, you can see LaVine is not in a position to box out. Like, even if they miss this shot, which they don't, they're probably going to get a putback. Kobe White there, pretty good job of helping out on a box out too. So maybe they would not have gotten the rebound. But yeah, kind of stuck on that screen there. That's, you know, again, they're going to make mistakes, but we're just seeing how they do in totality. Okay, play number 11. I think this was LaVine's worst play of the game. Something that has plagued him throughout his career is he makes mistakes on offense, or something bad happens on offense. He didn't make a mistake here, but something bad happens on offense, and then he lets it affect his defense. So the Bulls are going to try to hit him on a cut here. Ends up getting broken up, turnover, and the Clippers are on a fast break now. Now, where is Zach LaVine? Where is Zach LaVine? He's not even on the screen. We don't know where he is. Thomas Satoransky has to commit an intentional foul here to prevent an easy 5-on-4 score. Still, I mean, seconds ticking off. Where's Zach LaVine? We still have no idea where he is. He just totally took himself out of the play. And, you know, he was far out to start. I mentioned before that he played all 12 minutes of the first quarter, so he's probably gassed, but still, you would like to see better effort from him. Okay, play number 12. Here's Zach again. Good positioning. He's exactly where he's supposed to be as a helper. And when the shot comes up, I want you to look at this. Kawhi's going to shoot this shot, and Zach is going to immediately try to find a body to box out. He's going to help box out Zubac. I mean, the shot went in, but if that shot had missed, Zach would have helped get that defensive rebound. Play number 13. This is another really simple example. Zach's low man again. You can see him right here, head on a swivel. And yeah, just good help positioning in case of a drive. And again, he finds a body. Once the shot goes up, he boxes out Zubac here. So simple play, but a good one by LaVine. Okay, play number 14. Hang on with me, guys. Not too many left to go here. Clippers going to run Chicago action once again. So Chicago action, what is it? It's a down screen. They're going to down screen Satoransky here, and then they're going to try to do a handoff here. So Zach is down here. He's in the strong side dunker spot. He is the low man. He is responsible for protecting the rim. Same concept. He is in good help position in case of a drive. And then once the shot goes up, what does he do? He spots Zubac, gets a body on him, makes sure that the Bulls are going to get this defensive rebound. Okay, play 15. Not too much going on here, but here's Zach. Clippers lob it in to Marcus Morris. You can see Zach is in position to help. Thad Young is going to help Satoransky in the post here. Zach is keeping an eye on Zubac to help the helper. Thad recovers. And then once the shot goes up, Zach comes in to help rebound. Play 16. This is Chicago action again. Chicago action. What is it? It is a down screen into a handoff. Here's the down screen. And then here's the handoff. So Zach does a good job of getting over the screen. And then he goes under this one because, again, Terrence Mann is not a good shooter, so no need to go over the handoff. And I want you to watch Zach's head here. He's keeping it on a swivel. Good technique, good awareness. Turning his head, turning his head, turning his head. And once the shot goes up, turns his head one last time to keep an eye on Terrence Mann, and then comes in to help get the rebound. Okay, play number 17. This one is a simple ball screen pick and roll. Zach is supposed to be in. He's supposed to be in the paint to tag the roller, make sure Zubac doesn't have a clear lane to get a lob when Thad Young is helping on this drive. So he doesn't really get in the path of Zubac too much. Maybe you wanted him in a little bit more, but at the same time, his man is in the corner, so he can't go in too far. Yeah, you would have liked to see him be maybe a little bit more physical on that tag, but shot goes up. He pinches on Zubac, helps to get the rebound, so could have been a little bit better there, but not horrible overall. So this is the last play, play 18. You can see Zach is very gassed here. 16 seconds left. The Clippers are holding for the last shot. This also was definitely a mistake. So the Bulls switch up their defensive coverage here. Lou Williams is really good at these end of quarter situations, so they're going to blitz to get the ball out of his hands. You can see Sato. This might actually be a show. But anyway, they're putting pressure on Williams to get it out of his hands. And Thad Young is going to come up here to take Morris. When Thad Young comes up, Zach has to help the helper here. He has to sink down and get on the inside of Zubac to prevent the dump-off pass. You will see what happens when he does not do that. He does not get good positioning here. He leaves Zubac open for the seal, and it's a dunk. It's game over. So you would have liked to see him get a little bit better inside position there. Okay, so that was all 18 plays. I'm going to do a little conclusion here. I'm going to let you guys rewatch these as I do this. So 18 plays, no cherry picking. There's a few mistakes in there for sure, but also I thought it was mostly good technique and awareness. I want to go back to something Billy Donovan said post-game a few games ago, and I'm paraphrasing here, but he said that you can't expect perfection on defense. These guys are human. Offenses have gotten so remarkably good that even the best defensive players in the league are going to make mistakes. So LaVine definitely makes them at a rate higher than a guy like Kawhi. I mean, we saw him make a number of defensive mistakes here. They weren't egregious or anything, but, they led to scores. So he does it sometimes, but it's not so outrageous that he should be classified as a atrocious defender. Like, if you watched him in previous years, I mean, it was almost every single play that he was just making some mistake that led to a really good shot for the opposing team. So, in my opinion, the people who say that LaVine is among the worst in the league in defense, to this point where, his defense should be some sort of scarlet letter against his all-star candidacy, they're just relying way too much on his deserved reputation in the past. And if you watch him this year, watch him closely, as we just did on every single play, the consistency is markedly better than it was in the past. This is the only way to evaluate defense. It's hard, it's tedious, but you have to watch a ton of plays and see if the consistency is there. If you're going to make some statement about a guy's defense, you have to put in the work. Otherwise, it's not him that's being a lazy defender. It's you that's being lazy in your analysis. So I didn't pre-select this quarter in this game to show LaVine's defense as particularly good or particularly bad. This was a total random sampling. And, I've watched LaVine closer than anyone but probably a handful of people. I watch all these Bulls games 2 to 3 times. So if you pick a random quarter from him from this season, he was worse in the beginning of the year. He's gotten better. He's gotten actually a lot better as the season has gone on. But this is probably at this point of the season a typical defensive quarter from him. It's probably, I would say, somewhere in the 30th to 40th percentile of guards. So that EPM statistic that had him around 30th percentile, I think that's a good baseline. He's probably a little bit better than that, but, he's still below average. Not good, certainly, but not nearly as bad as people are saying or thinking. So, yeah, that's it. First deep dive on YouTube, in the books. I don't know how many more of these I'm going to do because they're actually very time-consuming. But, it's kind of a fun experiment. And if you like the analysis, if you want to check out more of my work, I'm going to have a link in the description to my Twitter where I tweet a lot of just shorter clips, easier to digest. And I also have this free Substack Bulls newsletter that you can sign up for. And yeah, that's it. I hope you guys learned something. I hope you made your own evaluations of LaVine's defense based on these plays. I hope that maybe I helped you see some things, but ultimately, yeah, it's up to you to decide. I really don't think that you can come to the conclusion that this guy is just like worst in the league bad at defense. But yep, decide for yourselves. And thank you guys so much for watching.